What's going on, Bulldogs? Welcome back to another esports stream. We have some great Overwatch games coming to you live. I am Wonderscore. I'm joined by my co-caster, Quirios. Today, our Bulldog Crimson team will be taking on Humber College, located in Toronto, Canada, and Temple University, located in Philadelphia. I'm very excited to see it in the current meta. Great games ahead of us. Try to see if they continue their record coming down. But
6-0.
first,
Let's go.
undefeated, man. That's crazy. But first, let's talk about esports as a club. Take it away.
Our social medias are on Facebook and Twitter, and then we also have a Discord, which can be found on our Ferris Esports club page. And we also have weekly meetings in the UC, 11 a.m. every Thursday in room 209.
Yeah, be there if you have any interest in this club, in the stream, in production, whatever. You want to be a player or you just want to know what's going on. Come on down. We have presentational meetings, make sure everybody's caught up.
It's always a good time.
But yeah, and with this game coming up, we gotta talk about our Crimson team because undefeated so far. It's 4-0. They won 2 games, but they honestly their map wins, their everything. They've looked dominant.
Yeah, they've dominated. I know they dominated last week pretty well. They kind of lost it nearly towards the end, and then we ended up coming back anyway. So
yeah. So we have a few different game modes coming ahead of us. I do believe we begin with hybrid going to escort, control being the tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unsure of all the maps, but I do know that we're going to be playing Kings Row, which is going to be a crazy game in terms of meta counter picks and everything else involved. But honestly, as a team, I'm excited to see what they pull out, but we got to talk about our individual players. But first, let's see what we got with our player intros. Let's introduce them all. I always gotta love to see the personalities. I'm a former teammate, played last year. Probably full-time caster this year, but seeing those intro videos is just the funniest thing.
They're some of the best, I feel like.
It matches them so well. As individual performance, in this current meta, right now I've seen the most of Double Shield, Doomfist, Reaper in the current patch. Very interesting meta. I really like casting, in my opinion. The player side is probably a lot different in terms of coordination.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the standout we're going to see here is a lot likely to be Bry on that Doomfist. Bry, a lot of experience with that Doomfist, crazy flanks. And with the coordination between the Orisa and the Doomfist, whether that's going to be Jono or Knight playing it, or Ricochet, excuse me, I don't know. It's probably going to be the decider because right now in this meta, it doesn't take a lot of skill to place those shield, but it does take a lot of skill to get around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we're going to get a lot of shakeups in the composition necessarily, but a lot of that will depend on the map.
Mm-hmm. Each map can be played completely differently based on just the way it's laid out completely by itself. So
yeah, so individual maps, and then the map, the game type, map type. We'll begin with hybrid, so we'll have that original capture point to be captured before the payload can start moving. The cart will be pushed to the end or as far as possible. Generally, on the defense setup, we'll see something unique.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we get to the payload phase, we'll see something a lot more adaptive.
Yep.
Because essentially you're setting up a wall to begin, and then you're setting up more of a retreat and push. A lot of it goes to team style.
Yep.
So some teams
definitely
hyper aggressive, other teams will try to just buy as much time as they can. But besides that, I want to say that the Crimson tends to be a little more aggressive.
Yeah, they're always aggressive. I know last week when they played against Twin Cities, they seemed to be very aggressive. They actually changed up their style just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
They had rather than people playing tank, they like switched to DPS and stuff because they figured it'd be more of a blowout match. So
Yeah, absolutely. I generally think they kind of like to flaunt their stuff. I know that they know they're good and they're not afraid to show it off. Whether or not we have a match that the other team can match will, I guess, determine who has more adaptability.
Yep.
I think a lot of that really shines through in this meta. Double shield, not everybody likes playing it. It's very restrictive in terms of comp. We're not going to see.
It's a winner though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. And it's just, I think this meta really enables of who has better coordination as a team. There is a lot of carry potential on that Doomfist, but that Doomfist does have a large journey to go of whether he's going to be 6v1 insta-dead or if he's going to 1v6. We will see that within the halts, within the supports, and I guess through with Sigma stuns and whatever else we're going to get. So.
And you were talking about how players will play together.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Crimson is very, very good at that. So we'll be hopefully able to see more of that today against Canada's team. So
yeah, there's a lot of that with sort of the microplay along with the ultimate side, so micro versus macro. Ultimate economy, I feel, is very important. You have the DPS ults at this meta a lot of times with the Reaper and Doomfist, which are very expendable.
Yep.
More or less, Doomfist can charge his ultimate so fast. And so sometimes he'll use it just to save himself, not even necessarily offensively, sometimes just to get back.
But even then, it's still useful. So
no, absolutely, it's a huge potential. But then you have the Graviton Flux on the side of Sigma, which is probably the #1 fight-ending ult right now.
Yep.
We don't really have that Earthshatter Graviton in play quite as much.
Yeah.
But instead, you do see 6 members of the enemy team getting lifted up in the air. That's always sure to end the fight real quick. But it's a lot of offense and defense between all of those ultimates, and I'm pretty excited to see what we get.
Yeah, hopefully it's another blowout match for our 6-0 winning streak so far. So
yeah, as our biased casterness supporting our Ferris team, but I always love to see close matches. But at the same time, sometimes you like to see that Doomfist pop off.
Yep.
We are getting the lobby set up. It looks like it is going to be a few more minutes as the rest of Toronto will filter in, Humber College. And I do believe our first map will be Busan, maybe?
Looking like it so far, yeah.
I don't know. And let's talk about Control real quick, I suppose, because Control is definitely the more even map type. You are most likely to see a mirror matchup.
Yep.
And I think that's the point where you start to see the differences. Because sometimes when you're two completely different comps, you don't know who necessarily has strategic advantage, who's playing better. Because sometimes it could just be one hero outclasses the other in terms of counter pick. But with mirror matches, you know who's playing better just by comparison.
And I know last week, I don't think we ever got to a Control map. Because we always 2-0'd them right in the beginning, and then they didn't want to play that third map. So it'll be interesting if Crimson can still hold together as a team on these Control maps they haven't played as much.
Yeah, I remember when casting my last game, the show match with GVSU, we commented a lot about it's kind of the long game.
Yeah.
It's not becoming exhausted. Because I can imagine shooting into 2 shields for 3 maps straight can just be
exhausting and more boring than anything.
Yeah, especially coming from either an even side or just a losing side. Even if it just comes to you lost the second game, coming off that loss to the third, that's a lot of mental fortitude. But I do believe our Ferris players have it. They've exhibited it before, and so far within their rampant terror of their 4-0 streak, I think they have some confidence going in.
Yeah, their ego is definitely very high at this point. And I'm betting it'll get even higher tonight.
Let's hope so, I suppose. Maybe for the worse, but who knows? Best for their play, maybe not talking to them in person.
Looks like maybe we won't even have a match. So it automatically win?
Maybe so. I would hate to have so much excitement going in and then just blow it out, but it does look like they're just talking on Discord. It does look like things are going to the best. All right, so we're going to take, while this lobby is being set up, waiting on Humber College, we're actually going to take a quick break, just see where everybody's at. Don't worry about it too much. We will be back soon. But we will see to try to whenever this lobby is set up. I think we're going to get a great match going on.
Yep.
And I think even with a delay, I'm excited to see what we got.
Watching Crimson is always a good time either way. So.
Oh yes, absolutely.
We will be going to our 10-minute break, and we'll be back soon. Welcome back, and it seems we have a bit of a change of pace. The Crimson's match has been forfeited against Humber College, and now our gold team will be playing against North Dakota State.
Yeah, so we will be taking an opportunity to spectate the gold team instead.
Yep.
Um, against the North Dakota State. I think it's going to be interesting. A lot of stuff that we said about Crimson, I do believe could be applied to gold. I know that there's been a lot of cross communication between the two, helping each other's teams. So the lobby is almost good to go here. And I think we still have the same map pools between all the Tespa teams.
Yeah, I would assume so, but I'm not fully sure.
Either way, we still will get the same map types, hybrid to start, escort, ending with a control if it needs to, if they're tied 1-1. And yeah, the stream's being set up on the side of the lobby. Just a minute here, I believe. It looks like both teams are raring to go. There's a lot of trash talk and chat so far.
And in a minute here, we will be going to our gold team player intros.
And there's our gold team. Some standout players to talk about. Tung Fu was part of the team last year. Definitely a standout within the DPS slot.
Ooh, DPS, my favorite.
Yeah, he has a lot of pop-off moments. We will see how he sort of adapts to this meta, what he will be playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do have a lot of new members of this team, both in Blaze Unicycle, Imaginary, and then NM3 and Havoc are all new. Zara Blue, Tung Fu only being the ones returning from last year. And I do believe we are just about ready to hop into it. What do you think we got going on?
Seeming how I haven't really heard much of the gold team, I am not completely sure.
I think it's going to be new for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially because I know our Crimson team is kind of like Ferris's star Overwatch team, so it'll be nice to see some of the underdogs getting some screen time for us.
Yeah, and so we are jumping in game, waiting for players going in. We are good to cut, and I'm excited to see what we got going on here. So it does look like
starting with a control point.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a little different from the format that I would have thought, but I mean, Busan, great map.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of Busan is like all the ups and downs and like different directions you can go, especially with snipers, and like even Reaper can flank pretty easily on this map if he just goes up top on certain areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are waiting on some of the spectator lock to come apart, I believe. But we will be assembling here on Busan.
Ooh, great strong start already.
I think we might be locked here on spectator. Oh, there we are. Just take a minute for the game to think about it. But we are here started on Mecha Base, a very close quarters map. Everything is, well, it's quite literally inside. So we won't be seeing a lot of long range. Instead, we'll be seeing a lot of high ground versus low ground, and definitely some close quarters fights.
And one big thing they got to watch out, especially because we've got a Lucio, is boops. There's a nice little big open area on the side of the control point that can cause some real damage for like tanks and our DPS.
Absolutely. We'll be spectating some of the DPS coming in here, especially as we'll see some probably pretty aggressive dives coming out. The other team is running Farrah Mercy. Very interesting choice here on Mecha Base. With the Doomfist and the Reaper, they don't have a lot to contest that Farrah Mercy, but at the same time, the Farrah Mercy don't have a lot of room to run.
It's interesting seeing Overwatch Ferris play Sigma. I know he's not too much into the meta right now, but with the double shield and how well you can be placed as Sigma shield, definitely be an interesting way to play.
Yeah, double shield is coming in strong into this meta, but we will see how both teams are getting around that.
North Dakota's Ferris seems to be doing some pretty much a lot of damage to us here.
I've got your back.
Yeah, it does seem that they do cap the point off that first place. It does seem like the Fair Mercy is getting the best of the gold team just a little bit. We'll be spectating Zara here as they try to push through that double shield defense. This very small choke point can make it quite difficult, but with some coordination, both the Sigma and the Doomfist can try to push in as much as they can.
Kung Fu trying to use Sigma's shield to push up as best as they can through that tiny little porthole there.
Absolutely. It's just not quite happening here as those rockets are just getting right past the shields and picking off players one at a time. It looks like it will be sort of a soft reset here for the gold team. Have it going down probably late on that rotation. Zara does go down. We will be seeing Imaginary trying to take this flank, maybe make something happen. Getting to the point to try to distract people back, but I think it's too little too late for the gold team.
And it seems Havoc here has switched up to a McCree to try and take down North Dakota's Farah for him.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of swaps are coming into play in order to try to turn the tide of this match. So hopefully they can adapt to that Fair Mercy and just find a way to break these chokes.
Using Sigma's shield as a nice little push-up is the best way to do this.
Absolutely, but it is the Coalescence coming in for the red team, and that just kind of cuts through the entirety of Ferris trying to push through that choke, and there's nothing that Shields can do about that. It goes straight through, and it looks like the Doomfist will actually be getting more aggressive to try to be cleaning up the rest of it, and there it is, the gold team wiped out outside of that Reaper.
That's definitely one thing Ferris has to watch out for is their Doomfist, who can easily push up and just run back if needed. He can do a lot of damage and take out the team pretty easily.
Yeah, it does seem like the gold team are mixing up which side they rotate towards in order to get through the chokes, maybe juke off red team a little bit, but that control point is at 90%. They don't have a lot of time to play around with positioning right now.
Our Reaper seems to have tried pushing point just to try and contest it even slightly.
Yeah, we will see Imaginary taking that duel is winning, but it does seem like the rest of his team all dead on that kill cam. And it looks like that might just be it for gold, as red team will take point 1 on Mecha base on Busan.
It'll be interesting to see if North Dakota plays that far on the next map. He seemed to be doing a ton of damage to our team and just taking us out one by one.
Yeah, those next maps I would argue are even better. Mecha base, technically, you don't tend to see a ton of Farah just because of that ceiling restrict lava movement, but with that early rush in there, they can secure those choke points, and they kind of just snowballed from that.
Were you saying Tung Fu is a DPS player?
He was, but
he seems to be playing tank, so it's enough of it for this match.
Yeah, it could be a fill roll, but it could also just be because that Sigma is probably the most DPS heavy tank we've seen in a long time. But as I say that, Tung can hear me 3 minutes in the past. going into that Reinhardt, maybe trying to take a more aggressive play, just deny some space, but we'll try to see how they play around that Fire Mercy.
We also seem to have picked up a Zara and a Mei rather than our, I think our McCree got switched out for a Mei.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like, a big heavy charge in, but is instantly stopped by that Rissa Fortify. Nothing, nowhere to go there. He will get a very aggressive position though, taking a lot of hits from that Farah and all those tanks. Hopefully he can get some swings in. He is taking a lot of space, but in the end it will be that Sigma taking him down.
And one crucial problem for this control point specifically is how small it is. There's not a whole lot of space that you can still be on point and try and contest.
Yeah, normally that would be sort of an advantage to the Reinhardt Zarya comps, but with that Doomfist and his ability to displace everybody with really all of his abilities, it's a very uphill battle for gold here.
And it seems North Dakota is still running their fire as well, trying to take out picks as much as they can.
Yeah, we will see Imaginary here on the Mei, maybe just looking for a wall or just to try to punish that Doom as he's coming in and freeze him.
Seems like they're pushing up middle as best they can, but Orissa's stopping them as much as they can as well.
Yeah, those shields.
Flanking to the right through that tiny little porthole is one of the best ways to flank the enemy team, but their Sigma shield seems to go up just to stop them.
Yeah, it looks like Havoc, maybe on his own dive, did get punished there. Blaze Unicycle getting caught out as well. Barrage comes in, and that's a lot of disaster for the gold team. Caught on this right side here.
Coalescence seems to do a ton of damage to our team as they try and push back as much as they can.
Yeah, whether it's double shield or whether it's just the Reinhardt shield, that's gonna cleave straight through your team. It's a little weird. Almost having more coordination will hurt you versus that Coalescence being grouped up.
It's definitely interesting to see. North Dakota seems to be pushed up pretty far compared to where the point would be. Just trying to stop them as much as they can.
Definitely a very aggressive hold. Maybe they find some confidence within their Sigma and their Doomfist. That Sound Barrier will come out in response to the Grab Time Flux, but maybe just a little bit too late. We'll see who gets the first picks here, and it's that will be Havoc falling to that Pharah. Kung Fu getting a big charge though onto that onto the enemy healer with that Moira. We'll see if they can take advantage of that, still having supports of their own.
That Doomfist is keeping knocking back Kung Fu there. And as he goes to charge, their Arista seems to stop him too.
Ooh, Tung though getting a 2K with that hammer. One of them actually being the Pharah, just flying way too low to the ground. Hammer to the face, despite those jet rockets. And it looks like that will be Gold finally taking back the point. We'll see what hold they take to try to make the most of their 0 to 99 status.
My ultimate is almost ready.
It looks like Tung does have Shatter coming in here. Getting that through the double shields can be tricky, but it's definitely easier to walk past the shields than it is trying to deal with another Reinhardt. So it's all about getting that angle and seeing if they can punish after.
We had a very interesting switch up here. We seem to have gotten an Ash to maybe use Bob to try and hold point the best they can.
Ooh, there it is!
Ooh,
a huge shatter from Tung. Wow, red team just went slightly too far around that shield, and Tung was ready with that hammer down, getting probably, I think, 4 down there. The enemy Pharah was trying to use Barrage in order to save it, but just wasn't quite there. So half of the capture time now for Gold. This is looking a lot more doable for them.
Ferris seems to be working really well, just picking off people one by one and by themselves, even with that Earth Shatter from Tung Fu.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do see the Bob in play as you're talking about. We'll see how that can come into play as Red Team pushes in here.
And Bob can be a very interesting character because he can basically hold the point for Ferris. They don't even have to be on it, it just has to be Bob.
Absolutely.
It seems that's what he's used for right here.
It looks like it is a little bit too late though. The Red Team Doomfist getting a lot of value there. Coming in with that Meteor Strike straight in the middle of the team. Getting a 3K, I believe, in the end.
When it seems Havoc will use Doom's ult.
This is the last-ditch effort. Overtime is triggered. It is basically an hour or nothing as Desperation Swaps come on. Kung Fu on that Wrecking Ball, just trying to get as much speed as they can.
This Zarya ult can get into play. They can stop them as best they can. Here.
Potentially, but I'm not sure they have the bodies in order to get the follow-up.
Point more than anything.
We will see NM3 just doing the best Lucio stall he can, but that Barrage, ooh, that's a lot of damage on that very small point.
Ooh, Havoc coming in with a Reaper trying to get on point, and he is stopped.
That will be Busan going in for North Dakota.
North Dakota seems to have a very, very strong Pharah player. Even using Pharah on that inside area is kind of an interesting strategy, seeing how you really don't want to do that often.
Yeah, in this meta with the double shield against that Reaper and Doomfist, maybe they predicted it preemptively and went out with that Pharah. The thing is that Pharah maybe isn't the best against double shield always, because you do have that Sigma to worry about. His movable shield, he can block a lot of damage if he so desires, but there's nothing to contest him. Yeah. You don't have McCree, you don't have a Widow, you don't have a counter Pharah.
And Ferris was trying to go McCree to just try and get rid of that Pharah, but it never seemed to work just well enough.
Yeah, it's almost a catch-22. You swap to that McCree to deal with the Pharah, but suddenly these double shields are in your way. So if the Pharah evades you or just hides behind the shield, suddenly you're useless.
What do you think our next map will be?
I am unsure. I did hear some talks about King's Row as the hybrid map, which would be very exciting. As we saw some of that Reinhardt play from Tung, maybe we'll see it again.
I love King's Row so much. One of my favorite control point maps just to payload.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites all around. We've seen so many interesting metas out of it. And even despite favoritism with some people's metas, I think King's Row has always been the favorite map.
And it seems we will be going into King's Row for the second round.
So that Pharah on the side of the red team, I think, might come back again.
Yeah, especially because King's Row is so open-aired. She can definitely do some damage to her team here.
Yeah, despite the very high rooftops of King's Row, Pharah can fly over them, and it provides extremely good cover if you know how to play around them. So we might see some more of that. And on top of that, King's Row had some of its own chokes.
Yeah.
And between that and all the corners, you might see some of those more aggressively tough holds from red team against gold.
I'm wondering if North Dakota will use Farah on defense. I know she's not typically used for defense, at least that I've seen. She's more of an attack character, especially for King's Row, because she can come out of that point right on top.
Oh,
And
definitely.
immediately start doing damage.
Yeah, that Farah definitely has a lot more aggressive dive potential with that Conch Blast and with the Mercy Pocket able to stay up in the air. But defense still can be good as long as you can lock down the choke and have the proper amount of support.
And it seems Ferris will be defending first.
The government here has such a medieval view towards Omnics.
So yeah, it does look like, take a look at the comps here. It looks like they are going for that Reinhardt and Zarya once again. Interesting DPS choice though with the Ashe and the Doomfist. Maybe what they're comfortable with. The Doomfist is a general result of this meta, but with the Reinhardt and the Zarya, it takes on a different approach.
I'm wondering if, seems like Havoc has switched to Hanzo now.
Yeah, maybe
Very
opting.
interesting. 2 snipers.
Yeah, maybe opting against it, but 2 snipers on King's Row, definitely the map to do it.
Trying to maybe pick off that Fair if they can.
Yeah,
Get that damage booster out.
maybe another preemptive swap, but offense in the long run will have the advantage of be able to swap. And I do see a Mercy in the air, so I do believe a Farah. Yep,
there's
will be
the Farah.
accompanied. Ooh, and a big headshot from Havoc. Out of nowhere, getting that headshot onto the Farah, picking her out of the air. The res will come through, but the res no longer available, and Havoc gets it again.
Havoc just targeting that Fair as much as he can just to stop them. And it seems that North Dakota will be running dual shield with Sigma and an Orisa. A lot of heavy damage coming from that Orisa.
Oh no, Zara just goes a little bit too far through. Sorry, Zara. Very confusing. Very high charge, but it looks like in the end, her pickoff will lead to the red team just barreling forwards and getting off everybody off the point.
Red team using that Doomfist to like try and confuse Ferris here, just to go around him and try and pick some off.
Yeah, that whole tail route is one you have to monitor very closely, because when you're in that very tight battle in the choke, especially a Doomfist with that very, very high burst.
And it seems Havoc for us has switched up to a McCree to try and probably more than likely still pick off Farah in some of these tighter corners.
Yeah, maybe that McCree can actually kind of double duty with both of the supports here, or both of the DPS here, excuse me. Because when that Doomfist comes in, you do have that flash, but it looks like both teams will here fighting in the choke as aggressively as possible. Ferris Gold definitely taking all their opportunities they can.
Red team using their Graviton Flux from their Sigma, not doing a whole lot of damage to us.
Yeah, and it looks like Tung just didn't have quite enough support going in there. Definitely did have a really good aggressive position to get tons and tons of damage, but it just didn't lead to picks in the end. That will be a red team barreling through these streets of King's Row.
It'd be interesting to see if they get to or if North Dakota gets to the next point, if that Ferris will still be a thing, especially in like the very, very low roof areas for the ending of this map.
I think a lot of it will depend on ultimate charge. I'm sure she does have that barrage saved up by now, hasn't used it yet. And with the amount of damage she's been doing, she surely has it in the pocket ready to use for this second point take.
It seems NM is ready for any defense or any attack that North Dakota might have coming towards them.
Yeah, but they do need to get on cart. They really just need that that space taken. But it will be Red Doomfist taking out such a crucial target. That barrier no longer available to them. And that'll be point 2 cap. The Farah making a heroic death with that barrage.
It seems their Mercy would be targeting the Doomfist, trying to push up even more, but it doesn't look like anyone's on payload for North Dakota. They're pushed up so far.
It is a fair trade though. Oh, a little bit of BM there.
Oh.
But yeah, that aggressive hold is definitely pretty par for the course with King's Row. This red Doomfist is just tearing it up within the Ferris spawn.
It might Ferris might need to switch it up to try and take care of that Doomfist, just keeping him in spawn, unable to do anything to him.
Yeah, they did swap Reaper, perhaps for that exact reason, but they just couldn't seem to punish him in the end. They will opt to go out the right side in order to try to get some cart time. Zara does have this Graviton Surge probably coming into play very soon if they hope to secure this last point.
That Sigma Shield just stopping all of Ferris's damage, unable to do a whole lot to him.
But Zara will be very high charge here, looking to use that Graviton, I believe. Ooh, and that's a big grab. Ooh, Tung does get caught up but it does look like the enemy Doomfist is down. But it looks like red team in the end is getting some of the best of it. Ooh, NM3 won that 1v1 versus the Mercy.
Such a poor Mercy.
Ooh, is that a boop off the edge? Not quite.
Oh, so close.
Tongue is back for. I was gonna say the stall, but that grab down flux lifting him high in the air. He had that shatter too, and it looks like red team is just getting the best of this ult economy, just shutting down heroes before they have the chance to use that ability.
Ferris really needs to seem to work on their going out more as a team, and I know they tried doing that, but that Doomfist kept just stopping them. And towards the end there, they switched it up to a D.Va to try and even get on point even faster.
Yeah, when it comes to especially King's Row, a very snowball map, it's really all about doing things quickly. If you're gonna die, you have to do it quickly. If you're going to wipe the other team, you have to do it quickly. It's all about how many chances you get. And when that Doomfist is running rampant in the spawn, S is buying so much time for his team, and Gold just didn't quite make it. Didn't quite get everything together in order to get that retake both on point 2 and point 3.
And I have a feeling Ferris will change it up here, going more dual shield to try and fight North Dakotas, and I'm wondering if they're going to go Pharah again.
Yeah, we definitely may see some different strats, and we are seeing some imaginary Pharah here in the spawn. I think he's very likely to stay. There's a potential that we might see Pharah v Pharah. That would be very exciting.
Ooh, some of my favorite matchups on Pharah v Pharah. And it seems we have Sigma for a shield, as well as an Orisa, and a Mercy healer, and also
Havoc is on the Ashe. Maybe we have seen Sniper Pharah previously. It is very good. Basically, you get each of them on a different flank, and you just have these two different angles of extreme damage, both in the Sniper and, of course, the damage-boosted Pharah rockets. We'll see how it works out for this point A push.
It'll be very interesting if Havoc will use that Ashe to try and take out their Pharah, if they do end up actually having one.
Yeah, so we'll be seeing imaginary scouting for his team more than likely. Perhaps trying to remain unseen to begin with, but he looks like he's going through Hotel. It does seem like the other team... Oh, they're opting for dive. Interesting, but they do have a Brigitte. And that is the Genji. Suddenly coming out with a huge burst from that dash and catching off Havoc, who was on the McCree.
North Dakota really seems to switch it up, trying to throw Ferris off guard, more with a Genji rather than Pharah.
Yeah, I do believe that the gold team Pharah with Imaginary does have a good advantage here. Not a lot of people to contest them besides that D.Va, who is very, very low right now.
Their D.Va seems to be very aggressive towards the Pharah, probably one of the easier ones to take out for her.
Yeah, at this point, I just think that the red team has to rely on these dives in order to get any sort of leeway working. And I do think Ferris has the heroes to punish them. We'll see if they can, but it doesn't look like Tracer's getting the best of Havoc.
NM3's Coalition comes out in use.
That'll be the enemy Brigade ult coming out, but it looks like red team are still falling despite that. So Bulldogs are keeping bodies on the point. Zara getting tons of support from these healers and just looking to do as much damage to these tanks as possible, but they need to remove that Brigitte.
One of the things to watch out for Ferris is that Winston shield goes all the way around. It can be pretty much an ult stopper, especially against D.Va's ult.
Yeah,
it seems that their Winston here was ulting at the same time.
Absolutely, but it does look like NM3 is getting tons and tons of support onto this point. Does have a slight support advantage over this enemy Brigitte. That burst healing against those armor packs is just so much better. And that'll be Coalescence coming out, but two members of Bulldogs are down. We'll see a damage-boosted Coalescence. See if they can get something going here.
Seems our Imaginary as Ferris seems to be like pushed back too far and just can't quite make it back to the team.
Yeah, so we've been seeing lots of damage swapped both ways. Ferris hanging onto that point, or hanging their bodies onto that point for a very long time, but in the end getting no ticks. So I think in the end it's just they have to get a single important pick. I do think that Brigitte has been sort of... Ooh, Tracer comes in, barely misses that pulse. I think that Brigitte has sort of been the key for red team in order to keeping their bodies on point.
Ferris only seems to have enough time for maybe 1 or 2 pushes, and Tiggs comes out with a Genji ult, taking down 3 of Ferris.
Yeah, that Nano Blade. You can never really expect to win that fight. So it is a very quick loss from Ferris, which isn't terrible for them. But at the same time, I think their ult economy maybe isn't looking the best versus what red team have.
very interesting to see the way that North Dakota uses that brigade, taking out Farah with her like long, I don't even know what the name of the ability is, but the long throw of her weapon.
Oh yeah, the whip shot.
Yep.
That's a crazy shot to hit onto a Farah. Normally Brigade has no rights to test the Farah at all. Ooh, a big anti coming out from Red, but it does look like Imaginary with that barrage will make a sacrificial play in order to get the enemy healer.
Tong Fu taking down their brigade here, going after the Tracer. They can't quite get her.
Yeah, at this point, it's just about taking out the slippery heroes on the side of the red team, the D.Va and the Genji and the Tracer. But it's kind of fair trades either way. Blue team or Bulldogs should have an advantage coming into this with their respawns. It's just a baby D.Va on point. Imaginary trying to get it. Those armor packs coming out. Oh, what a clutch play from the red team.
Ferris just needs to regroup. One more push, and that's all they need. Let's see if they can get it with.
Yep, this is their last chance. I do believe they have some ults coming into this. Yes, they have the Coalescence to try to get that aggressive dive. But the Blade in response. Does look like the D.Va is D-Max on the red team side. And at this point, it's just whoever can get the first picks among these just flurry of ults.
NM3's Coalition coming out trying to heal Ferris, but it seems that just can't quite get those slippery heroes out.
And if finally they do bully them out, I think that respawn advantage was finally to their favor. Blaze Unicycle getting that sound barrier, wise decision of not using it. NM3 is going on kind of his own tear.
Ferris finally getting the point.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be very low on time to try and get to the next area of the map.
Yeah, they will gain a little bit of time from that point capture, but in comparison to the red team's push, it's... Ooh, that's a big pick. NM3 just overextending just a little bit, getting a little too greedy.
D.Va Bomb coming out, taking out our Sigma.
Yeah, it looks like Globals have to retreat for the time being. Zara getting D-Mac, that could be a big setback.
Havoc seems to be like picking off a couple people, getting 30, almost to the fourth.
Ooh, that's a big pulse bomb. Ooh, getting the Brigida with that weak shield. And it looks like despite the picks going towards red team in the beginning, that Bulldogs did manage to actually take it back.
Gold team has seemed to really hit their stride now on this map.
Yeah,
it only
Blaze
took just a bit longer than I thought.
Yeah, Blaze still hanging on to the sound barrier. It's very good. He might need it in response to a Blade or maybe just an aggressive push by the enemy Brigida.
Ferris has seen 3 ults for this next push. They just have to get it to that next point, and they should have it.
Ooh, almost a punch onto that Genji Blade, but he is very, very low. He will end up getting Blaze Unicycle, so there'll be no sound barrier in response. And it looks like that is red team sort of, oh, sneaky NM3. So red team will be taking the cart for now, but I guess MN3 will be hanging around, hoping that nobody sees them.
Red team's Winston seems to be doing a lot of damage to Farah, just trying to get those jumps on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, a cheeky flank by NM3. I'm not sure if it'll be worth it in the end, though. D.Va will be chasing him. He needs that fade in time to escape. Ooh, he does get it.
NM3
Crazy.
just barely getting out of there.
Well, it does seem like the Tracer duels were won on the side of red team. NM3 is taking a lot of damage trying to get out of there.
Ooh, finally taken out by that Winston jump.
Yeah, those aggressive Winston jumps are really making the best of gold right now. Great dive coordination from the side of red team, but it will be the grab down flex. Who can he find? He will find the monkey in air, but he does have the ult in order to save himself with that primal.
If Havoc, yeah. Actually, if Havoc could just flank around and try and get on payload, he could push it. It seems like someone is on payload.
Yeah, those looks like that'll be Imaginary on the Tracer, just blinking past the team. But he has a very uphill battle here with 3 on him. So we'll see if anybody else can touch in time. I think Lucio potentially, the swap from Blaze Unicycle, might be able to get on. And it looks like they will. That Coalescence keeping them up as long as possible.
But D.Va all coming out just trying to sneak North Dakota off of the point payload, but it doesn't seem to do a whole lot to him.
Yeah, NM3 seems to be doing the most right now. Getting one with that. Ooh, getting both supports. One with his ult and one with just his biotic grasp. And I do think that Bulldogs, albeit slowly, are just getting grasp onto this point. We'll see. It's a big barrier.
And it seems Ferris might get the next point.
Yeah, it looks like their next overtime point 1 and overtime point 2, they might be able to get it. This Primal Rage on the side of red team will be trying to stall out things as long as possible. But Ferris do have the positional advantage. And just all the damage coming out right now into this monkey.
Red team trying to do as much as they can to stop payload, even coming out with a wrecking ball to try and hold on to that payload as best they can, going around the entire time.
Yeah, a little bit of that wrecking ball cheese, but it looks like Zara does eat pulse bomb. That's a great save in order to prevent anybody from being picked. And I think it's just a wrecking ball left on point doing his normal wrecking ball cheese. Hopefully somebody can get him on the way.
The best way to contest.
So far, despite me leaving those cheese, it has been working out. Bulldogs are getting the picks in the end, but I mean, it's still stalled nonetheless.
Imaginary basically taking out anyone that tries to get the point that he can pick off.
And finally, it will be Bulldogs taking that point. Finally managed to shove the wrecking ball off from his shenanigans. Imaginary getting a lot of damage onto anybody coming in.
Gold team seems to be very well under pressure, just trying to get to the next payload or point even. They seem to pick up the pace and do really well together.
Yeah, if you see that little gold flag on the progress bar there, that is where they need to go. They have a full minute to do it. We will see if they can take advantage of their ultimate and Doomfist in order to get there.
Taking out 2.
Yeah, that will be a hamster roll onto point. Big punch. That was so risky, almost right into that bomb. But Havoc does seem to be cleaning up for his team here, best he can.
Punching back their monkey just to try and get him off point. And he seems to have his ult ready too.
Almost pick onto that Tracer. Somehow he got robbed from that wall slam.
Kung Fu coming out with the Graviton Flux, taking out Monkey.
Oh man, that's huge. The ultimates just coming in, both the Coalescence and the Flux. And they are making their slow trickle towards the end point. We'll see if Red Team has anything in order to keep them at bay, or if Bulldogs will keep pushing us into here.
It seems Gold has really hit their stride now.
There's the Blade coming in. They do have the barrier in response. It has a huge barrier. Blocked slightly by the Winston shield, but it doesn't matter. That Blade will not find anybody. Havoc actually hitting the Genji in the end.
Wrecking Ball doing his typical thing, trying to just run around payload, stopping them as best they can.
Big bomb from Zarya. That's a 2K on point. Healer and tank gone. We'll see if Kung Fu can clean up some of these kills. A Bastion coming in on the left side. I think Tung may be able to keep him at bay as long as possible. But, Imaginary finding himself off the cliff.
Zarya doing the best she can just to get back on point, even without mech, only to be taken down.
Such a valiant effort from the side of Gold, but it looks like that may be it. I don't think anybody else is around to get to it. And that will be a 2-0 from the side of North Dakota.
It's interesting to see how well Gold seems to pick it up under stressful situations. Like, towards the beginning, they would be picked off pretty easily, and then at the end of each section, they would just pick it up and get to the point as fast as they can.
Absolutely. We'll see a nano Genji coming here. That Genji player on the side of Red Team was definitely doing them a lot of work within those dives. Getting some crucial picks against the DPS especially. So a very, very close series from, well, despite the 2-0, I would say it's very, very close at Kings Row, as you said, under pressure.
Yeah. Both
point A, point B, and nearly point C.
I wonder if they'll go on to the third match, just for the fun of it. I don't know.
I guess we'll see. It all depends on lobby. Some people do it for fun, maybe extra practice.
Yeah.
I know Crimson did it quite a bit when they were having a good time, especially when it was a very even match, such as at Kings Row.
Does not seem like it will be happening.
No, looks like we are backing out in preparation for their next match. But man, what a great Kings Row match.
Yeah, I always love watching Kings Row because it can get very intense in certain tight areas, and Gold Team definitely showed off that area.
I don't know exactly what it is about Kings Row, but you always see overtime.
Yeah, always.
Always. It could just have something to do with spawn walk times or his heroes or something. But, yeah, we saw 3 insane overtime pushes from Gold in the end, finally getting stopped at the last point, but it was so close.
It was very close. It would have been very nice to see Gold get that last point just to go into another round for them, see if they could typically pick up the match for them.
Yeah, with that time differential, we would have for sure seen more overtimes. But with the end of our first game, we're going to take a chance to talk about our club as a whole. Take it away.
Yes. If you look on our ferrisesports.club online, you can find our Facebook, our Twitter, and then a link to our Discord, which we have all of our, we talk about everything on our Discord, and then we also have weekly club meetings every Thursday, 11 a.m. at the University Center in room 209.
Yeah, our Discord for sure is our main hub.
Yep.
Our ferrisesports.club website does contain links to everything. So if you don't know where to get our Facebook or our Discord, which is our primary like entrance, just go to our website. You'll find everything there. And show up for meetings. If you want to be involved in this club at all, production, you want to be a caster, you want to be a player, doesn't matter. We'll find somewhere for you within the club. Just make sure to show up and start talking to us.
Just showing up to meetings is a great way to get into it as well, to get to know some people.
Yeah, and outside of even competing, we have a really great just casual gaming community. Definitely the number one here at Ferris, just as an organization. And so if whether or not you're competitive, whether or not you play to win, if you just like playing games in a social setting, come on down.
Great way to get to know people on campus too.
Absolutely.
Even if you never meet them in person, just to get to know them online is always a good way too.
Yeah, I played a bit for Ferris last year, and I got to know the personality of my 5 teammates very well before I even knew some of their faces. It was really funny just seeing them finally in person, and you see that you matched their voice chat to their face. It's so funny. But yeah, it's a great place to find people to play with. Otherwise, just talk to. You know?
Yep. Great community. I think the gaming community can always be one of the better ones to get into as well.
Yeah, so I do believe we'll be seeing if Crimson have their next maps, hopefully not a forfeit this time. Love to see some more Overwatch.
Yeah.
Crimson level, gold, either one. I mean, Kings Row, we could see more Kings Row.
I would love to see more Kings Row, especially for Crimson and how aggressive they can be.
That would be crazy within this meta. We're seeing some. The nice thing about this meta versus some of the previous is that there's some really good pop-off moments, I feel.
Yeah. Especially, I know Sigma's ult can be definitely a game changer, just getting people up in the air and easy to pick off if you have the right team comp, that is, at least.
Yeah, the ultimate enders, and besides that, you just have the Doomfist at any time.
Yeah.
Whether or not he has the ult.
Doomfist is always a win for sure, for the most part.
Yeah, we saw some of that from Red Team, but we also saw some of our own DPS moments. We even saw some dive.
Yeah, which was very interesting.
Yeah, that
Did not expect that.
dive defense. Teams playing to their strengths, perhaps, and in the end, it was.
Dive is always one of my favorite comps ever.
Oh
I
yeah,
miss it so
absolutely.
much.
The coordination is just like so obvious.
Yeah.
Where everybody just rushes forward,
Yep.
and you know it's going down. So, yeah, I will think we'll see when this next Crimson match is happening. I do believe it's at around 9:30ish.
Yep, and we will be going up against Temple University this time, and we are now 5-0 because of that forfeit match. So maybe we can get the 6-1 down for us.
That would be crazy. 6-0 undefeated so far. This is looking so far just a great season for the Crimson team. Crimson team, I mean, they're generally the same roster since last year. I do believe they added Knight this year.
Mm-hmm.
But they seem to have a lot more of the coordination down, especially the meta, playing it super well, playing to their strengths especially.
Yep.
I think roll lock is helping quite a bit.
Definitely interesting because last week we saw some mix-up too of people that played tank were on DPS, and it was nice to kind of see how other people can play different areas, but they still have their strong points as well.
Yeah, I remember last year when GOATS was going on, which was a 3 tank, 3 support meta. The DPS would take on a tank role, generally in the Zarya, very DPS heavy, but you had a lot of kind of shoehorning people into slots. But I think now with the roll lock, the 2 tanks, 2 supports, 2 DPS, we're seeing people really playing to their strengths. Brian, that Doomfist, Telos on that flex support, Jono, as always, on the main tank.
And that roll queue stuff nowadays is also, I think, more helpful when you play comp because it's more, I would say, I don't know how to put it, but it's not one-sided.
Right.
It's more. It could either go either way pretty well versus just one side. Like if you have goats, you pretty much will win the match, but now you can't do that.
Yeah, it's you generally know the game forces you to take a more well-rounded comp no matter what.
Yep.
Where it won't be goats where you just have insane amounts of sustain with that 3 healers and 3 tank health pools. No longer. So now we'll have an equal amounts of the DPS healer and tanks, and now it's just about who plays what the best because we're seeing double shield, most prominent, but we still have room for that Reinhardt, Zarya, and even dive.
Yep. And I know for role queue, I really enjoy playing Winston as role queue. I don't know why. I can be very aggressive with him, but at the same time get picks off pretty easily.
Yeah, Winston is definitely a kind of a dark horse in this meta. It's really hard to tell what he's capable of. He can get burst it down very quick by
Yes, he can. I
by
know.
those Sigma abilities. I mean, you're jumping into 2 brick wall tanks sometimes, but at the
Yeah.
same time, double shield, everybody has to be within those shields. So
Yep.
you have that cleave through just 6 members.
Yep.
And so if that Winston can basically get in there without getting picked, then that's a massive amount of damage. He can build up Primal insanely fast.
It'll be interesting to see if Temple University will play a Pharah on an indoor map.
Maybe
That
so.
one still surprises me, but it seemed to work out for him. So
No, absolutely. I mean, play to your strengths, you know. Farah is definitely one of the best carry heroes right now, I believe. A lot of that DPS is just too dependent on getting around the shields,
Yep.
and they just don't have it. But that Farah, if nothing can contest her, she has free reign.
yeah, it's especially with the pharmacy. Just
Absolutely.
having a nice pocket to you, you can pick people off pretty well.
But I do believe we have some great potential hit scans on the side of Crimson if that happens. And besides that, I think we might see some flex support swaps. I do know that Milk can play Ana. And so Ana sometimes can be single-handedly a counter to Pharmacy, which is crazy. But when you have that long-range scope and you can play so far away from your team as to not, just get rained upon down rockets, I mean, you're a pretty good countermeasure.
And one sleep dart can pretty much ruin that whole
Absolutely.
combo too.
Absolutely.
Either getting rid of the Pharah or getting rid of the Mercy, you can stop the whole combo from them. So
Yeah, it doesn't seem plausible to sleep a Ferris in the air, but I've seen it. I've seen it very prominently
Yeah.
recently within this meta, whether it be Overwatch League or whether it even be our own Milk.
it's always crazy to see those people get those random shots off and hitting them. You never think they will, but they always seem to.
It's always satisfying. I've even seen Sigma Rocks hit Ferris. I've seen Orissa's halt them out of the sky and then coordinate. At this point, when you don't have anything to do with the far, you just got to throw every ability you have at
Yeah,
it.
just to take them out. Anything that works, it'll
And
hopefully get them down.
In the end, if you shut down that Farah has sort of a long time coming, because if you can't get the momentum as Farah, you're not doing much. You're
Yep.
spamming shields with rockets. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll try to see what Crimson going on here soon. I do believe we are going to take a break. We will be back. Stay tuned in. We have some great Overwatch coming up. We'll be coming back around 9:30, probably a few minutes beforehand, in order to introduce everybody. And we'll see you then.